Press is naming the gunman here.
That's right. We understand his name. The suspect is Major Malik Nadal Hassan. And again, this is the Associated Press reporting this for us this afternoon. But we understand that was the shooter that was killed. He was a U.S. Army soldier, Major Malik Nadal Hassan.
Yeah, they're describing him as one suspect in the Fort Hood shooting.
And we understand, you know, from that news conference we've been to, Lieutenant General Bob Cohn said that they have apprehended additional soldiers, 2 suspects, but they are still investigating this. This is still an ongoing investigation. Installation there still on lockdown, families and children locked down as the military begins to notify the victims' families. All of those casualties we know were killed in that initial incident at the Soldier Readiness Facility. Of course, that facility is where soldiers go just before being deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah, we have new information here from the Associated Press. I'm just going to read it here. The suspect has been identified as Army Major Malik Nadal Hassan. The official said that Hassan is believed to be in his late 30s. He was killed after opening fire at the base. The official who identified him spoke on the condition of anonymity because not authorized to discuss the case publicly, but investigators are now trying to determine if Hassan was his birth name or if he changed his name and converted to Islam at some point in his life. But once again, the suspect, Major Malik Nadal Hassan, that is according to the Associated Press.
And we also believe that he was killed in that initial shooting at 1:30 this afternoon at Fort Hood. We understand he had 2 weapons. Those were handguns. A local police officer, a Fort Hood civilian police officer, was one of the first to respond at 1:30 to those shootings. He was killed there on the scene. It is one of the dead. Once
again, we are talking about a total of 12 people dead this afternoon and 31 wounded in this shooting at Fort Hood. The wounded taken to various hospitals around Central Texas. We understand that we had a report from the Metroplex hospital that they had what, nine shooting victims.
And right now we're going to take a listen. This is Governor Rick Perry commenting on the shootings.
Offer our support and resources to the United States military at Fort Hood. I've spoken directly with the officials at Fort Hood, offered our assistance. I've been in direct contact multiple times today with Colonel Steve McCraw, the head of the Department of Public Safety. I've asked him earlier in the day to deploy the resources that we had available, both the Texas Rangers, our Department of Public Safety troopers, and the aviation assets to help with the perimeter of the area. And they are continuing to keep me abreast of the situation. Students in the schools surrounding Fort Hood are now either gone home for the day or they're safely situated, so there appears to be no threat to off of the base at this particular time, but there will be some of the students that will be staying at the schools until the military gives the all clear. Today's events are just a reminder for all of us about the important relationship that we have with our military in this state. Texas has always been generally, in those communities where those military bases are specifically, great support mechanisms for the men and women of our military. To honor those whose lives have been lost today, I've ordered the flags in our state to be flown at half staff until Sunday. And again, I ask that all of you keep these families and these individuals in your prayers today. With that, without having any other details, I'd like to open it up to those of you in the working media for any questions that you may have.
What are the latest numbers you're hearing, Governor?
The latest numbers that we have are that there were 3 shooters. One was killed, 2 in custody. There's upwards of 20 injured, and I think the last number I had, 9 were killed.
What can you tell us about the shooters?
I don't have any information directly about the shooters. I think it's a bit premature to be reporting anything that hadn't been confirmed from an appropriate source. So, I don't know. This is one of those instances where we have the right people on the scene. The incident manager for the Department of Public Safety is there. Whether it be an event like a natural disaster of a hurricane, certainly at some point in time I may be on site, but not until I am not a distraction to any of the events that are going on there. So the right people are on scene at this particular point in time. I talked to the individuals on base who was uprange from the event and offered our assistance. So there's good communication between the federal authorities, the FBI is on scene now, it's my understanding, and between the military and the FBI and the federal authorities, of course, that being a federal reservation, that is the appropriate individuals. We are there in a support role, and we got great working relationships with those individuals, and so they know that we are ready and able to assist in any way that we can.
Governor Perry, what about the other installations that are in Texas? Have you heard about any increased security?
I'm sure that those installation commanders have taken the appropriate steps to secure those facilities, and what that may be is to each commander. And they have in place the type of activities and security precautions that are appropriate.
Did Homeland Security, the state Homeland Security Department, go into any sort of alert or code something when this happened?
It's not to my understanding that they have, but then again, that's no direct information to me to that.
Where were you when you heard?
We were traveling up here from another event in Dallas. So.
And this was right by the Readiness Center around that.
That is my understanding, that it was where they were processing troops. But again, I don't want to be too specific because my details are a bit hazy as well from the standpoint of any specifics about where and when, and so I would rather us stick with what we do know, and that is that it's my understanding that the situation is underhand. And now they're going through the process of identifying the victims and then, of course, identifying their families.
Can you talk a little about security on the base?
From what standpoint?
Some people have said over the years it's been a little lax.
Well, I'll leave that to the military authorities. That is, that's a federal response, and I think it would be inappropriate for me to be making a statement about security on a federal reservation when that's not our duty, and frankly, I would be out of line to do such.
Who in the federal government have you been talking to about this?
All right, you've been listening to comments from Governor Rick Perry just a short time ago. Obviously, the governor had not received the updated numbers at that point, but here's what we know. We now have 12 dead, 31 wounded, 1 suspect is dead at Fort Hood. This all started around 1:30 this afternoon. It happened in 2 different locations on the base there, but the primary location that we understand was the soldier processing facility. We understand that military police have 2 more suspects in custody.
And we understand